Dada. Welcome back to this video today. My name is Anthony, and I dedicate my time here, guys. I do come here on every Sunday to give you the top-down analysis in preparation for a new coming week. So if this is the first time that you have landed to my channel, as I've said, my name is Anthony, and I do my top-down analysis using the SMC concept. If this is something that you would like to learn, so you have only one thing that I would like you to do. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get notified immediately I upload a new video. So without wasting time, let's dive into the market and see what the market has to offer. So here with me, I have few pairs with me that I would like us to analyze today, starting with our good friend Euro USD. So from the monthly time frame, what can you see the Euro USD doing? So in terms of the swing structure, we can see very clearly that the Euro USD is really bearish. So you can see the market giving us a break of structure here, which is a very strong break of structure, meaning this is our protected high. We have this high swept liquidity here before pushing down to give a break of structure. That is to mean this is a very strong high, or what you call a protected high. So what are we seeing? The market traded to the extreme. We can see the market coming to the extreme and is currently reacting from the supply zone. So now, after the market up to this supply zone, we went down to the lower time frame or the entry confirmation time frame, the time frame that you are supposed to wait for your confirmation. For that matter, you are supposed to go to the daily time frame. So if you don't know how to do the time frame alignment, so I have a video onto my channel that talks about the time frame alignment. So make sure you watch the video and you will understand on how to do the time frame alignment correctly. So at the daily time frame, what are we supposed to do at the daily time frame? We do the same thing. So once you go to the daily time frame, read the market structure over there. And what is the question that I will always ask myself? What is the last structure before the market reacted to your POI? And you can see very clearly this was our last bullish break of structure before this market reacted to this supply zone. Later on, we saw Euro USD pushing down to give us a change of character. That is the confirmation, guys, that you would like to see. We need to see this trend shifting from bullish all the way to the bearish, because now we have a change of character to the downside. That is our confirmation that we need for us to start looking for selling opportunity. Now the question is, since now the market has given us this change of character, are we supposed to start jumping in and taking our the sales? Absolutely not. So what are you supposed to do? We need to ask yourself, where are you supposed to take this sell from? Because as much as we are saying that the market has given us a confirmation, we need to know where is the right place for us to look for this selling opportunity. And if you look closely, this is our swing high, this is our swing low. So what do? We pick our Fibonacci, we place from the swing high all the way the swing low. So what are we doing? Why are we doing this? The idea of doing this is for us to differentiate where is the equilibrium, where is the premium, and where is the discount. Because if the market is really trending to the downside, we have no business when the market is at the discount. So we sell when the price is high, we buy when the price is low. And since we are looking for selling opportunity, we are supposed to sell when the price is high. So at this case, it means now when you are marking the point of interest, make sure the point of interest is resting at the premium. So for this case, you can see the only point of interest that you can identify here, it is this order block. If you have been following me for a while, you know very well that I personally, I like trading order blocks. So it means now I can't see any valid order block above here. Every order block that we can see above here, it was mitigated. For instance, we have this order block here, which was mitigated by this buy movement. We have this order block, which never gave us a fair value gap. It means it's a low probability variable order block, and then we have this order block, which is a fresh order block with a very massive fair value gap below it, so making this one to be our PO high. So what do we see? When the market came to that area, we started seeing this selling opportunity from there. So from our previous analysis that we did here on last Sunday, what was our analysis, guys? If you remember very clearly, this was our structure. Market gave us this break of structure to the downside. So the only question that you will always ask yourself, was this one a strong high? How do we determine that? We check whether this high swept liquidity within the impulsive move. This is our impulsive move. This is our correction move or the pullback. If you look at correctly on this pullback, it swept this internal high. We have this structure here which was cleared before the market pushed down to give us a break. So this was our protected high, and the market had given us this change of character. And then we had our point of interest here, which is absolutely resting at the premium, because we have said when the market is really at the discount, we have no business of taking any selling opportunity. So wait for the market to come to the premium, then look for a point of interest that's resting at the premium, take your sales over there, and then you target your previous lower low. And this is our order block. If you look closely, you can see we have the last buy candle before the sell movement. We have a fair value gap below our point of interest. Absolutely. You can see we have a very good order block. So market came there, traded to this point of interest, and then gave us this sell movement to the downside. Again, we have another break of structure here to the downside, meaning now this high here becomes our protected high, and then we have our targeted low down here. Since the market never took out this low here, market never gave us a break of structure on the daily time frame, and we know very well that that is our final target. And market is showing some kind of buy movement or pullback before a continuation. Where are we going to sell from? If you look closely from the daily time frame, let's go to the daily time frame. So from the daily time frame, we can see very clearly that this is our point of interest. We have the last buy candle before this sell movement that led to this break of structure here. So that becomes our point of interest. So if I have to look for any selling opportunity, this will be the right place for me to start looking for that selling opportunity. If, for instance, the market will push to this area before coming down to break this low. Also, don't forget, if you go to the 4-hour time frame, what are we seeing? So from the 4-hour time frame, currently we can see we have this fractal break, and then after that fractal break, we can see we have another tiny small fractal break. So this is the last fractal break around this area, and you can see currently the market has given us the fractal change of character. That is a signal to us that this market is now ready to come for a pullback. That one, once you see this fractal change of character, that one confirms to us that this is our swing low, this is our swing high, this is our previous swing low. We have lower low, lower high, and then we have lower low. So at this point of time, what are we supposed to do now? We're supposed to ask ourselves, where do you expect this pullback to come to? Because if, for instance, I have to pick my Fibonacci and I place from the swing high to the swing low, what have we said? Anything that is below 50%, we have no business of taking or selling opportunity around that area. But if I look closely, I also have this point of interest here. I have this order block that is sitting at the extreme point of interest. So at this point of time, I have 2 points of interest that I have to look out for. Okay, let me remove this fib at least to make my chart to be clear. If you look at this, now I have these 2 points of interest to watch out. Okay, I have this order block and I have this extreme order block here. That is a daily order block. So if we go to 1-hour time frame, even though from the 1-hour time frame, this is not a strong break of structure, but since this point of interest is resting at the equilibrium, we might see market giving us a reaction from there, from this area, right? Because don't forget, we are very close to our target here. So market can come to this area. And also, to add on that, we can see very clearly, let me go back to 4-hour. You can see very clearly, we have this support zone here, or this resistance zone here. We have this zone around this area, which was our support now, which might turn to be our resistance zone around that area. So market can come to this area, react from there, and you can see very clearly we have a very massive fair value gap, which is in confluence with this support zone, which is turning to be a resistance zone. So market might come to this zone and then sell from this area. So you have to pay attention to that. In case the market comes to this area, then you have that confirmation, a strong confirmation from the 15 minutes time frame. You can really start looking for selling opportunity from this area. If the market will violate this zone, then this will be our next point of interest that we'll be watching out for a market to come to this area, have a reaction from there, and then we sell to the downside. So that is my view on Euro USD. I don't know what you think about this analysis. Maybe you can tell me on the comment section. What do you think about this, or what is your analysis as far as Euro USD is concerned? So we are going to move to the next pair, of which is gonna be the GBP USD, of course. When you look at the GBP USD, the same thing, guys. So the GBP USD, it ended up missing my entry. If you go to 1 hour time frame, so this was our order block, which we marked here on our previous analysis that we did here on Sunday, guys. You remember very clearly that we marked this the last buy candle. That is our point of interest, because this point of interest of ours is sitting at the extreme, and I can see this I had swept this internal liquidity. So this one was for me, I was looking to take an aggressive entry from there. I had already set my sell limit order here, but unfortunately, market never activated my order, so I ended up missing this opportunity. It was a very beautiful trade, which was supposed to be 1:6, but unfortunately, I missed that entry. Market never activated my order. So currently, what are we seeing on this pair? Since now we go to the daily. If you go to the daily time frame, you can see very clearly that you have a break of structure here to the downside. So market has given us this BOS to the downside. So the same to the Euro USD, we have a very good order block here from the daily time frame. So what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating for the market to have that pullback around this area. And then if the market gives us an opportunity to sell from there, we take our sales targeting this swing low here. Because don't forget, this is our final target. This is where the buy side liquidity, sell side liquidity is resting. So we are anticipating the market should come down here and take out this low to give us a new structure to the downside. But as at now, because remember, trading is reactive but not predictive, this is where we are. We have this break of structure now. Wait for a market to come to this area. We look for a selling opportunity around this area. If we get that confirmation, we take our sales targeting this low here. The same to the Euro USD, because you can see the market gave us this internal break of structure around this area, and we are seeing some kind of support zone here, which might turn to be our resistance zone, and exactly you can see another block around this area. So don't also forget, market can come to this area and then start looking, give you that selling opportunity to the downside. I don't know if you place your Fibonacci from the high to the low, you can see very clearly, although this area now it is sitting at the discount, right? But did the market confirm that it's our swing low? Okay. If you look very closely, we have a fractal break and then a fractal change of character here. So that is our confirmation that is our swing low. So unlike the GBP, unlike the Euro USD, I don't like this point of interest because one, it is sitting at the discount, right? For me, if I'm looking for any selling opportunity, the selling opportunity should be within the premium. So if I have to choose between this pair and the Euro USD, I would rather go with the Euro USD because now that point of interest that we have seen on Euro USD, it is sitting at the equilibrium, unlike this one which is sitting at the discount. And I don't like to look for selling opportunity around the discount because I know in most of the time, these point of interest that are resting at the wrong place of your dealing range, market might use those areas as liquidity or as inducement, only to take you out and for the market to come to the at least to the equilibrium, and then we start selling from that area. So that is my view on GBP USD. This is my target here where I will be anticipating for a market to come to this area, and then I start looking for selling opportunity from that area. So the next pair in our list is gonna be gold. Again, gold, guys. I don't know what was happening last week because also gold also missed our entry. What did you do? And you remember very clearly I gave you this analysis here. If you have been doing all this, you have been following me for a while, I believe now you have been benefiting from this analysis that I've been doing here. If you look closely, from what we did on last video on Sunday, what did we say? We said very clearly, this is one of my point of interest. and this is my next point of interest. Then I told you, if the market is gonna violate this zone, then the next target that I would, the next point of interest that I'll be watching the market to come to, it will be this supply zone. But the good thing, market never violated this zone. If you go to the 4-hour time frame, what are we seeing on the 4-hour time frame, guys? So from the 4-hour time frame, we can see very clearly that you have a very nice break of structure here, which swept this fractal high. You can see this fractal. We have a fractal structure here, or fractal break of structure. So market pushed up to sweep the liquidity first before pushing down to give you a break of structure. And before I forget, guys, if I do have a private mentorship, so if you'd like to learn this one-on-one with me, so make sure to find the link on the description of this video. It will take you direct to my WhatsApp. Then if you are ready to join for my mentorship, because also the charges are also indicated there. So if you are ready to join the mentorship, make sure to leave a message on WhatsApp and I will guide you on how to get started. So now going back to our, our analysis. So this is what we had. We had this break of structure. Then this is our order block. And if you see closely, market never closed above this protected high. Okay? From the 4-hour time frame, we don't see the market breaking above this high. So what the market did, just swept liquidity above that. That is why always I tell you guys to wait for a confirmation. Because I know if you took an aggressive entry from here, you got stopped right. But what about those people who are waiting for a confirmation? You can see very clearly from the 1-hour time frame, this was our last break of structure, which led to this change of character. So immediately we saw this change of character here, and you can see very clearly, and also learn to observe the momentum of the candlestick. If you look at this buy movement and this sell movement, you can really tell that the sellers at this point of time, they are really in control of this market. So once you get this change of character to the downside, nothing else is stopping you from taking your entry. So what do we do? I went ahead, I marked this one as my point of interest. That was my supply zone or an order block, and I had placed my order around this area. But unfortunately, the market decided to use the 4-hour order block. This is why the higher time frame point of view, they are gonna be powerful than the lower time frame. So if you look closely, the market reacted from this order block from the 4-hour, tapped to that order block, and then started selling from that area. So that is what led to the market not market never came to our point of interest, and by doing that we missed this very beautiful trade. So we were supposed to take our entry around that area, and then TP1 was here, and then the next TP was within this demand zone that is sitting around that area. So assuming that that trade market activated us, so this trade could have been around 1:6. If you target this one as your first target, that is around 1:3.6, and then the next target is around here. So currently, what are we anticipating on gold? Since now we have this break of structure, we have this 1-hour break of structure, and if you look closely, this is not a strong high because it's never swept liquidity within this impulsive move. So for me, I'll still remain with that point of interest. I will use this I as liquidity. So if the market will decide to give us that pullback, then I will use this one as liquidity. I will wait for a market. If the market will come to this area, that is where I will take my entry from there. And once I take my entry from there, assuming now the market will continue coming up for a pullback, then this will be my first target. That will be around 1:6 risk to reward. And if you decide to hold, you can hold until the market gets to this low down here. So that is my view on gold. The bias on gold is bearish, so we should be looking for selling opportunity on gold. All right. I think the next pair on my list is gonna be NAS 100. So I'll start my analysis from the daily time frame. So from the daily time frame, what are we seeing? Let me go to the weekly first. So from the weekly time frame, you can tell that this market is really bullish. You can see very clearly the market is making the series of higher highs and higher lows. So the market is very bullish. So if you have this kind of market trend, what do? We ask ourselves, what is the last dealing range? And you can see very clearly, we have this break of structure here, meaning this is our swing low. And then we have our swing high around that area above here. So identifying our dealing range. So what do we anticipate? We anticipate the market to come at least with the 50% before the continuation to the upside. And what are we having here? We can see very clearly we have this kind of resistance zone, which might turn to be our support zone. If the market can come around this area, we anticipate to see that reaction from this area, and then we continue buying. Or we have this demand zone here from the weekly time frame. If the market violates this zone, then this is the area that you should be watching for a market to react from this area, and then we continue buying to the upside. But currently, do we see the market giving us an intention of having that pullback? Because if I may be asked, I can see very clearly this is the last fractal break, right? So from this time frame, you can see that is the last fractal break. And currently, market never closed below this low, right? So that means what? The market is not yet ready to come for a pullback. So currently, the market is still bullish. So at this moment, this is our low. So what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating at least for a market to take out this high. So once the market takes out this high, we'll have a new fractal structure on this time frame. So let's go to the daily time frame. You can see very clearly whatever seems to be fractal on the lower time frame, when you go higher to the higher time frame, it becomes a very valid structure. So from the daily time frame, we have this very nice breakout structure here to the upside. All right, and you can see this low and swept liquidity below this low. Although now the market is giving us the change of character here to the downside, but between the daily time frame and weekly time frame, which one are you gonna trust more? Okay, so if you have said weekly time frame, definitely you are correct. And from the weekly time frame, you can see this market is really very bullish. All right, even from the daily time frame, you can see this was our last fractal break, which led to the fractal change of character. So what do I need to see? At least I need to see the market breaking this high. So once we break this high, we wait for a pullback, and then we continue taking our buy to the upside. So currently, we don't have anything to trade as at now. So we have to be very patient and wait for a market to give you uh, that is structure that you would like to see before starting to look for any trading opportunity. But in case the market gives us a good structure by Wednesday, I will also come here again and give you update on that. So kindly, if you have not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that you get miss on future videos that I will upload on this channel. And that is it on NAS 100. I think the next pair that we're gonna look today, we're gonna look at the GBP JPY, or let's see what the GBP JPY has to offer. If you remember very clearly, guys, the analysis that we did on our previous video on Sunday, we analyzed this pair also. Let me check where we analyzed it. Okay, when was this? It was on Monday, yeah. So from the GBP JPY, what are you seeing? What is your bias on this pair, if I may ask? You can see very clearly that this market is very bullish, right? Because this is our last swing break of structure, which swept this low as liquidity, meaning this is our protected low. And what are we seeing? The market came to this flip zone, reacted from this flip zone, and from there, the market has been showing the buy movement. So currently, market tapped to this point of interest here, and I believe that is what we had marked last time as our point of interest. We were anticipating the market to come down to these areas, because if we look down here, when was this? This happened on Monday. So meaning that analysis we had done it when the market was around this area here. So we were anticipating for the market to come to this area. You can see the market reacted exactly from there and gave us this buy movement. So if you capitalize on this movement, I believe you made some good money on that if the market gave you that confirmation that you needed to see. All right. And currently, what is happening? All right. So if I look at the daily time frame, I can see very clearly we have this demand zone down here, because this was our last strong break of structure. This movement, I don't think whether this movement had come to the 50% of our dealing range. Let's confirm. If you look closely, you can see that this pullback, it never came to the 50% of our dealing range. That is why we see the market traded down to this area. Because if I now push this one to this high, You can see very clearly the market came to this area, to the discount, reacted from this, and gave us that buy movement. But market failed to break the high. So it came back again. And what is the market currently doing? You can see the market swept these relative equal lows here and sharp to this paper lookup, and currently is showing us this buy movement. If, for instance, the market gives us a structure to trade, confirmation from the lower time frame, that is from the 1 hour time frame, because from the 1 hour time frame, you can really see very clearly that the market is really bearish. We have this break of structure here to the downside, right? And we have this area here, and we have a very nice supply zone here. So what do we need to see as our confirmation? If this low was strong enough, that favor lookup was strong enough, it should push this market and break this high. Okay, we need to see this supply zone failing. So that means we need to see the market closing above here. So once we have that closure, we'll have that change of character. So what do you wait? Wait for a market to come for a pullback, and then we take our buy trade there from there to the upside, because we know for a fact that the market can decide to come to this supply zone, trade lower from that area up to this demand zone that we have seen from the daily time frame. Market can decide to come to this daily demand zone, and maybe we have that reaction to the upside. All right, so we need to watch out on what the market will do around this area. So if you get that confirmation to sell around this area, you took your sell to the downside. If the market violates this zone and give you this change of price to the upside, wait for a pullback around this area, and then you take your buy to the upside. So guys, that is it on our today's market analysis. I don't know what you think about this analysis. Maybe you can drop your comment, or you drop your suggestion on what are you watching on this pair and on which time frame, and what is your bias. So guys, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, it's a bye bye for now.